Hey, what's up? It's Brian and Max from IGN. We're both huge Star Wars fans, and we're really excited for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is coming to consoles next month. But it is missing a very important thing that has been a long-standing part of Star Wars for a very long time.
Lightsaber Dismemberment!
That's right. We want to be able to cut off the body parts in Fallen Order. Right now you can't. You can only do that with droids and aliens, and even a lot of those moments seem sort of semi-scripted, but you do fight a lot of stormtroopers in the game with lightsabers. You stab them through the chest, you hit them in the arm, and it kind of makes it look more like you're holding a big glowing bat because you don't actually cut their body parts off.
Now, a lot of people are kind of blaming this on Disney, thinking it's like a more like family-friendly call. What do you think about that?
I think it's an interesting perspective. I don't think necessarily that Disney has made this sort of like mandate that there's no decapitations or dismemberment, all that fun stuff. Because you and I were talking about sort of the new Star Wars movies, and they definitely don't have as much dismemberment as the old ones do, or even the prequels or anything like that, where Jango Fett's head got cut off in front of his son and rolled across the battlefield. But Snoke does get sliced in half. His arm falls off. There was a deleted scene in The Force Awakens where Chewbacca allegedly rips off Unkar Plutt's arms.
But even like the beloved scene in Rogue One where Vader comes out and he's being like the ultimate badass, he's still just kind of throwing dudes around and he impales one guy through the door. The new movies have a lot of impalement.
Yeah.
I think a key thing here is the sheer volume of dismemberment.
Yes.
Because whenever we've seen dismemberment in the Star Wars movies, it's always been pretty significant. Like Snoke getting cut in half, love it or hate it, was a sort of significant moment. Jango getting his head cut off, that's a big deal. Anakin getting chopped up and turned into Vader, that's a huge important scene. The rest of the time you see it, even Luke on the sail barge in Return of the Jedi, he's kind of just like slashing dudes and kicking them off sides and stuff. Meanwhile, we do see lots of Geonosians in Attack of the Clones and battle droids in The Phantom Menace getting chopped up, and they're sort of CGI non-humans.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I think seeing a bunch of people getting their arms chopped off is a little bit too Kill Bill.
Yeah, this is Ponda Baba. You see him in the cantina scene in A New Hope. It's one of the first times, the toy actually, the arm comes off, which is why I love it. But this is one of the first times you actually see a lightsaber in action, not in like a training sequence, not in just sort of like, here's this cool thing, but it shows you this sort of raw, visceral, brutal power of this giant beam stick that can cauterize and destroy people's body parts.
That was very early world building, which then again got sort of retconned and tweaked. I think, didn't Lucas go back and make it so there wasn't any blood? Or that's like a bone of contention where like lightsabers historically do cauterize the wound.
Yeah, because there was that shot of Ponda Baba's arm on the floor of the bar with blood everywhere. Star Wars video games don't have the deepest history of having dismemberment, but there are a few notable examples. For example, like none of the 2D ones, none of the Super Star Wars games, or even stuff like Shadow of the Empire, that wasn't really like, you didn't go to those games for dismemberment. Shadows of the Empire didn't even have like lightsabers that you used. Your
Dash Rendar gonna like cut a guy's head off with an axe? Like that's
you had blasters and stuff like that. But with games like Jedi Knight and Jedi Outcast 2, that one specifically, you had to input a cheat code to be able to do dismemberment. A lot of dismemberment in Star Wars games is pretty much just like an arm here and there, but Jedi Outcast 2 allowed you to like straight up cut off arms, legs, and had this wild ragdoll physics to it, so these characters would get thrown around.
Now, there's another argument to be made here, which is that aside from Star Wars games, not a lot of games have dismemberment.
Yeah.
It really, I think, comes down to not just what's appropriate and what's too violent, but really the fact that it's extra work and is it really worth it. We've seen like incredibly violent games that even in like really gruesome cases don't necessarily have tons of dismemberment. Like GTA, famously violent, but even then, it's like you don't really see people getting jibbed. You don't see like limbs getting cut off so much.
Yeah,
Bloodborne, which is gruesome as hell, but like you're not like cutting dudes' heads in half,
Yeah, in terms of like horror games, you think that would be the perfect place to do it, especially FromSoft action horror games like Bloodborne and obviously some Dark Souls. But there's actually not really a deep history of that happening either. Something like Resident Evil 4 allows you to, blow off the Gyarados' heads and they explode and stuff like that. And snakes come out.
Headshots are sort of different from dismemberment, especially what we're talking about with lightsabers, which is having something getting cut in half. When I come to think about like any games that have like specific like limb-based dismemberment, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance comes to mind, where you can straight up just cut things into a million little pieces.
Eternal Darkness allowed you to focus on individual body parts and actually slice off like zombie arms and legs and stuff like that.
Soldier of Fortune let you jib dudes all sorts of different ways and blow off like limbs and make them hop around on one foot.
Yeah, so not only is Fallen Order missing dismemberment, although like we said, it does appear in some combat with droids and aliens, most games are. And it's weird because it's like, I don't know, video games are escapism, and I'm all for them getting violent and bloody as hell. I think it adds to the fun factor. But I wonder if this is like a mix of the ESRB thing, a technical issue where it's kind of hard to like have to deal with all those animations and body parts.
Like literally more moving parts.
Yeah.
To have like a limb that's lying there, you got to kind of deal with it. Whereas if you just have a dead enemy, it's just one big ragdoll object.
Exactly. So let us know, is dismemberment or the lack thereof a deal breaker for you for Jedi Fallen Order? Are you holding out hope that maybe there'll be a cheat code one day that allows them to do that? Hopefully that's not something that EA sells individually for a fee, because that would be bad. What are your thoughts on video game dismemberment? We love it. I think it's cool. I wish there was more of it.
It's still got impaling. You can still just go like straight through somebody with the thing.
But you can't just.
A lightsaber would never do this, because look at how jagged this cut is. This was clearly done with some sort of vibro axe, or maybe like a force pike.
Yeah, and there's blood dripping down the side and everything.
Clean cut.
It's not great. But anyway, let us know your thoughts on video game dismemberment, and if you're still excited for Fallen Order, even though you can't do that to the Stormtroopers. And until then, give us a hand.
And may the force be with you, you sick boys.
Yeah.